Okay, hello everyone. This is Sharonda, and this is my podcast as well as my Restream streaming platform by way of my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook Live, Spiritual Sense. Today is Sunday, which is June the 4th, and in this podcast I go over topics in regards to the paranormal, occult, supernatural. I speak on things such as hauntings, curses, out-of-body experiences, soul travel, astral projection, to name a few. Hauntings. I discuss belief systems and practices such as Santeria, Yoruba religion, Islam, Buddhism, Wiccan, black and white magic, to name a few. I give my account on and my explanation as to what was revealed to me as to what a lot of these practices and belief systems are, okay? So it's a curiosity. I'm not judging no one and what you do, particularly if it's not necessarily harmful to you or the next individual, okay? So I'd like to start off by saying that it is for entertainment purposes. It is optional, okay? So today's topic, as I mentioned, is on cults. What is a cult? I'm pretty sure most people have heard of the term of a cult. And exactly what is a cult? So I pulled up a couple of websites in regards to cults. Well, this particular website talks about what is a cult. And it mentions there are 4 types of cults and common characteristics. So we have heard several cults out there over the course of the last few years. One of the famous ones was the Jim Jones cult or what have you. The people that was down in, I think it was Guyana or New Guinea or something like that, and where they took on took the cyanide laced Kool-Aid and died. And then the Davidians with the Waco standoff was one. And then you had the thing. There's been several. I can't think of all of them right offhand. But let me Google cults of the century. But we all have heard of a cult. We may not have used the term. Famous cults, I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And then I just give you an example about that. Let's see. Okay, so 6 infamous cults. Because it's, I think cults happen because of, the freedom of speech and rights and things of that sort. Infamous cults, we have the Church of Scientology, as it has listed here. The Nubianism is one. We have the Osho cult. We have the Realism cult, Order of Solar Temple cult, the Church of Euthanasia cult, to just name a few. There's several out here that you can Google and find out about or what have you in terms of cults. So this particular website that I'm on, it says the term cult refers most often to a group of people with usually atypical beliefs, living in relative isolation from the world. They tend to centralize around one charismatic person, the cult leader, who orders the beliefs, behaviors, and customs of all the other members. Many cults stand in as de facto new religions for their followers, but some are irreligious in nature. So What does the word cult mean? Well, again, it says the word cult descends from the Latin cultus, an ancient word encompassing the concepts of adoration, education, and cultivation. At first, it became a catch-all term for groups devoted to a specific subject. This could be something philosophical and religious or more mundane and material. By the 19th century, it evolved to mean an unorthodox group of zealous and eccentric believers. Still, the definition of cult remains somewhat expansive. While it's synonymous with these sorts of often destructive movements and bizarre forms of belief, it can also refer to an ordinary group of people. For example, a movie might have a cult following, meaning it appeals to a niche group of people. This doesn't imply anything nefarious about the film itself. So what are the characteristics of a cult? Each cult has its own distinctive focus, but most of all, these groups share at least one element in common, such as authoritarian control. Cultism hinges on encouraging maximum dependency. People in the cult must feel incapable of living an individual life outside the norms of the group. These beliefs often go hand in hand with a worshipful attitude toward the group's authoritarian leader. Extremist belief. Cult members hold to very dogmatic and extreme beliefs. They are unable to question these belief systems without fear of reprisal or punishment from the leader or other group members. Isolation from society. As soon as new members join a cult, other adherents work hard to isolate them from family members and friends. This helps fulfill the mind control aspiration of the leader. It also creates a hive mind of sorts between the new person and the other members. Veneration of a single individual. Charismatic leaders are often at the center of most cults. Consider the Manson family of the late 1960s. As their name suggests, they adopted the beliefs of their leader, Charles Manson, and fulfilled his request. The same pattern repeats in almost all other cults, albeit to less violent ends in many cases. So, 4 types of cult. There are many different types of cults focusing on different end goals or beliefs. Here are just a few general groupings. Number 1, Doomsday Cult. This is probably going to be the most popular ones of all of them, in my opinion. Certain cults come together to prepare for the allegedly imminent end of the world. For instance, the Branch Davidians stockpiled firearms and explosives in a Waco, Texas compound over the 1980s and 90s to prepare for the apocalypse, to lead to an infamous standoff with the federal government. The second one is the political cults. Political groups on both the left and right can morph into cults. Looks like it says Janja Lalich wrote an entire account of her own experience in such an environment. Religious cults. Spiritual beliefs serve as the bedrock for many cults. Some cults are offshoots of mainline religions, while others offer brand new dogmas and theology. Number 6, sex cults. All types of cults might have a component of sexual abuse, but some focus on sex as one of their primary functions. For instance, New York-based NXIVM encouraged rampant sexual behaviors between its group members before dissolving. Examples of cults. Cults have made headlines over the years due to their outrageous and sometimes tragic behavior. Perhaps you've even heard of some of the notorious cultic groups. Heaven's Gate. Now, this is the one that I was thinking about, but I couldn't think of the name. Inspired by the Book of Revelation, Bunny Nettles and Marshall Applewright formed Heaven's Gate, as a doomsday cult with a focus on UFOs. In 1997, all of the members died by mass suicide in an effort to ride a comet passing by the Earth. The People's Temple, Jim Jones, and this is the one I was speaking about. A charismatic preacher from the United States formed the People's Temple to spread his own flavor of Christianity before moving to Guyana. Therefore, he founded Jonestown, a compound for his religious group of followers. They died by mass suicide in 1978. The next one, the Unification Church, a religious movement that began in South Korea. The Unification Church spread to the rest of the world, all adherents following the teachings of Sun Myung Moon, hence their colloquial name, the Moonies. So, why do people join cults? Well, people join cult movements for various reasons, most of which revolve around a desire for meaning and community. Many who become part of such organizations have troubled backgrounds and difficulty fitting into society. They may also feel mainstream culture has no place for them and nothing of spiritual value to offer either. Former cult members often describe the long-lasting sense of loneliness and nihilism they felt prior to becoming part of something bigger than themselves. This encourages them to put down their defenses and accept their stranger elements of their new communities. Of course, this has sometimes led to horrific and even deadly outcomes in extreme circumstances. Discover what makes people tick is the next topic. I'm not going to go into all of that, but what I will do is give you my account as to cults and what I feel that is in the spiritual sense of it all. Because as I mentioned, this podcast that I'm doing, this platform, is to give understanding about certain behaviors that we do, I do, everybody do. Do I have all the answers? No, I do not. But I'm going to explain to you what I feel that is. I feel like we all are spiritual, whether it be of a favorable or good spirit or not. And I think this is God's way of conveying to us when there's confusion or divide or something significant about a people or a group of people and things of that sort. And so God will show you that these energies don't die. They recircumvent themselves back into the universe. So say, for instance, if you look at the biblical text, and again, this is not a biblical nor religious podcast. However, I will refer back to the biblical text to give my own synopsis as to what I feel a lot of this is. Those energies, this body, the body that we are born in, it's simple that. As what the saying says, from dust you come and to dust you go back, or something to the sort. In other words, this right here, of course you want to take care of your temple, you want to take care of your body, but from dust you came and to dust you will return. So, in essence, we come here in a certain suit. But ultimately, it's spiritual. So when we come to this place, as we know, earth or society or what have you, we are still spiritual beings. We're still based on spirit. And that energy recycles every so often. They said that a human civilization dates back to 100,000 years. They said the earth and the solar system been here billions and billions of years. Who knows how long it's been here? But what I do know is this, that over time, these same energies perpetuates itself back into the universe. And you are on a certain time wavelength, is what I'm getting at. You are on a certain wavelength. And so, in essence, according to science, some people can, I've heard the most up to 100, close to 120, 21 years. that I have heard. I think 122 is the highest age that I've heard that somebody was. So, in essence, depopulation is real. You go back and look at my podcast about depopulation because that is real. Those energies has a job to do. And in doing that job, that energy purpose itself back to do such as that. So when the angel of death comes to steal, kill, and destroy, that's what his job is to do. And you have to be level-headed and mindful when certain spirits takes on certain energies. That's why it is you have to be very careful when you are out there in spirituality to be a preacher, priest, prophetess, and things of that sort. Those roles are hard shoes to fill because you're open to a lot of energy out there. That's why I think there's such extravagance that are centered around pastoring and preaching, as well as the same with being in the entertainment industry, because you have so much exposure to a lot of energies. As such as in the Jim Jones situation. You know, he had got to where he became very charismatic. He became a pillar in the community. He helped some of the disenfranchised. People didn't really give reference or even care or concern to the group of people that he preached to and ministered to. So in essence, they looked up to him as a god or godlike. And God would use whom he chose and whom he made to convey a message. And I think that's getting back to what I mentioned when I did my podcast about the Jesus agenda. Meaning the one that put up, you know, and this is something to take note of, because deception is real. The angel of death is real. It is. And you can't be someone that just so quick to go off of what everybody tells you. You have to be able to sit back and critical think. Essence is what that is. And I will show you that certain words and terms was saying something without coming forthright and saying it. Like it was revealed to me about these saints. It says to me that saints is a representation of ain'ts. Meaning it's not what it appears to be. And how you have some people, they think a certain way is what that is. And this is to show the spirit of individuals. So we need to look at it on a bigger scale. What will cause these things to happen? And how the effects of certain things will cause people to make poor decisions and cause people to turn against itself. And they begin to look into the personalized of the individuals and see what would cause someone to do certain things. And this is God giving you, conveying that message to you to show you that these are spirits. And when you're battling demons and you're battling certain spirits, this is what occurs. So that's basically what that is in terms of cults and things like that. When you begin to not forgive yourself for things that you did in the past and constantly allowing that to what? Move your footsteps to where you can't do things properly. You can't even think straight. You turning against yourself. That is not of God. That is of something else. Because even if you are being of service to the next individual, God did not tell you to do foolish things in the process of it. So you have to be the level-headed one in a situation such as this. Okay? So that's my take on cults. And I'm not going to get too in depth with this, but I do feel as though it's a mind control thing. without going too much in depth, I think you have many organizations or associations that work in that same mind frame in terms of cults. You know, you may be in a group, or you may be in some type of organization or what have you, where everything is being controlled. You're being controlled. You don't have the free liberties to do what you want, and things of that sort. So that's basically what that is. And when you begin to see people that gravitate to these type of behaviors, you begin to wonder, what spirit is this person dealing with? It's a Jezebel spirit, the spirit of control, confusion, and the demon has them so to where they can't even think a part of the agenda that is at hand. They are stuck in time. Like, this is their curse. They can't think no way contrary to that. This is their curse. They are stuck in as such at this mode. This is it. And God had to show me that. Okay? So I am going to conclude this episode on Spiritual Sense, speaking about cults. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or even a topic for a future show, you're more than welcome to comment in the comment section below. Until then, have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.